Always remember, the opinion you follow should be your own. Just consider the things stated here to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online.
Happy Friday, Mike.
Happy Friday, Phil, and everybody out there listening. Excited to be here with another Random Waypoints podcast, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about a lot of different things today, as always. So let's get right into it.
So let's start with something that touches every American, and I sent you the information. The National Park Service is rolling out major changes in 2026, including a new $250 non-resident annual pass and a $100 per person tourist surcharge at some of the most visited parks in the country, on top of normal entrance fees. Free park days will now apply only to U.S. citizens and permanent residents. The regular $80 America the Beautiful Pass stays the same, but this clearly reshapes how international visitors access public lands. Mike, do you think this is a necessary conservation move, or is this the beginning of a two-tier national park system?
Okay, well, the first thing I want to address for those of you that have seen this article is the fact that the new America Pass, which, by the way, I've had for I don't know how many years. Every year I get the park pass for America. You know, it's good for a year, good everywhere. Anyways, so it's called the America the Beautiful Pass. This year, the 2025 one has George Washington and Donald Trump on it. Okay, so let me just call this. Yeah, that's last year's, right? Yeah.
Keep talking. I was just letting people.
If for the six of you that are watching this, Phil just showed his pass last year. But anyways, so this year's America the Beautiful has Donald Trump on it. Now, this is actually, it's like poking the bear. Okay, like no. Come on, give me a break. That's not. Look, I've had the pass now for I don't know how many years, and every year it's got a picture of either wildlife or, some kind of scenic vista or some picture from the national. I've never seen, to my knowledge, Phil, I could be wrong. I've never seen a human being on the pass. This is the first time, and I've got George Washington and Donald Trump. And Donald Trump's picture, by the way, is the one that it looks like he's getting ready to, I don't know, kill something. So, no. Yeah. Okay, so half of America obviously isn't going to want to buy this pass. No, half of America is not going to want to walk around with Donald Trump in their pocket.
So,
let's just be clear.
I don't know either if there's ever been a person on the pass, Mike, but if I were to venture to guess or to wager on it, if there ever was someone that was a person that was on the pass, it was somebody like Ansel Adams or something.
Right. Yeah. Or like the national or national, or like a park ranger or something.
Right.
So this is okay. This is, to me, that's not good. Okay. Okay. Let's just get that out of the way.
It's cheesy.
I hate it. Yeah.
It looks so cheesy and classless.
It's terrible. It's just a kick in the face to people, obviously, that are not Trump supporters. And furthermore, okay, so I can't say it's a kick in the face to international or non-residents because their pass looks different. So the non-resident pass, as you would expect, has a picture of, actually, it looks like, it's either Glacier. I think it's Glacier National Park. If I had to take a guess.
I think it's Glacier, bro.
But yeah. Oh, actually, it just says right on it. It says Glacier National Park. There you go. Hey, good guess, Mike. Anyways, so that normal. Now, your question. Let me get back to the question whether or not I feel like it's fair. If so basically, if you're an American, you can buy your park pass as I do every year for $80. And I want to say that maybe that went up a little bit. I think it was 75 last year. Maybe it was 80. I don't know.
It's
I
been
don't think that
80
went up
for
much.
about the last 3 years.
Yeah, okay.
It was
All right.
cheaper than 80 before.
Oh yeah. I remember it used to be 65
Mm-hmm.
not too many years ago. Anyways. Okay, so and I noticed they corrected something for the residents where they're allowing the motorcycle thing, like two motorcycles on it. That was always a thing because if I, anyways, good move there. Anyways, the non-resident pass is $250, right? So we're talking, 3 times the price of a resident pass, and I. I I have mixed feelings on that. So let me give you it from both sides. One, I mean, the national parks are for the benefit of Americans, residents of the United States. So I can see that, I mean, look, every state park you go to, generally speaking, if you're a resident of the state, you get a discount. So I don't know that that's on its surface that big of a deal, that there's a tiered price structure. There is a problem that we've had over the last several years where the parks, a couple of the parks, so several of them anyways, are grossly very difficult to get into, overbooked, et cetera, et cetera. So I see this as a way of potentially maybe trying to bring, some less chaos to the park. However, I think that that's an excessive amount to charge foreigners to come to America the Beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't look. I think this is politically motivated. I guess that's the best way I could say it. I just don't think it looks good. To say that you guys have to pay 3 times the amount. And by the way, it's without the park pass, the year pass. So like if you were a foreigner that flew over from France, let's say for a 2-week vacation, it's unlikely that you're going to buy the America the Beautiful, full length, year pass. Those are for people that are overlanders or whatever that are coming over with a, shipping their truck from Germany or whatnot. That makes a little bit more sense to me. But when you go to the non-resident fee, it's $100 a person. in addition to the $35 standard entrance fee to get into a park.
Right.
Wow. So that's basically telling everybody from that, a visitor or somebody that's a tourist to go, pound sand. No, am I wrong?
I agree. Bro, I have so many opposing opinions on this all at once.
And by the way, that fee that I'm talking about, the $100, that's Acadia, Bryce, Everglades, Glacier, Grand Canyon, Grand Teton, Rocky Mountain, Sequoia, Yellowstone, Yosemite, and Zion. So that right there, that covers like
every bucket list, bucket list national park.
Right, exactly. That covers 80% of where they're going.
Every national park that you would make the effort to fly internationally to come visit.
Correct. That's right.
Mike, so in one sense, I do like the sentiment of America first. America gets more. It's our country. But counter to that is the idea that they're trying to put out there, the message that they're trying to put out there with this is really not accurate or truthful unless they charge Americans nothing to visit and then charge visitors.
And you and I have talked about this on the podcast before. It is cost ineffective, and it is the national park system as it stands today at $80, let's say, and by the way, it's more than that if you're going to, do it a la carte, is cost prohibitive to families using our public resources.
Absolutely.
There's no question.
Even if you spend the $80, it's good for a year. You get to go to all the different national parks. As a father or a mother, paying for your family and your kids, you still have the day-to-day fees and charges, paying for meals, shuttles, and all those type of things. So even with the free entrance, it costs a nice guap of money to go to the national park. It's like going to Walt Disney World.
Right. And you want to know another kick in the balls here? Let's get back to politics for 1 second. So I'm reading this very carefully, and the non-resident pass at the very top says price $250, available to everyone, including U.S. residents. So that's a kick in the nuts, because that means if you don't like the Donald Trump on your pass,
right,
you're going to pay $250 to get a pass without his ugly face on it. What the hell?
And then, Mike, I tried to look at this like a lot of things that we discuss on here. Like, so what does America do versus what the rest of the world does? And you might know more about this than me, but from my little experience in outside this world in national parks, it's all over the place. Some places, the American pays more. Some places you pay the same. Some places, national parks are free.
Yes.
So there is
Mexico, I'll tell you that they're a lot of them are free, and ones that are not free are there is a discount for a resident or a citizen, but we're talking the difference between, say, $4 for and $5. It's not a lot,
right. So it's so all over the place that it's hard for me to have a strong opinion on it, because I can't say we're doing something different, because there are other examples, but
I'm just stuck on Donald Trump being on the damn card.
I don't have a problem with just the idea of non-residents paying the $250. That would do a lot for the national parks. That means that people who happen to just be going through Wyoming won't just casually stop by that are from another country. It will, like, bruh, you got a place in Montana. You know Glacier very well. You could live literally an hour away and never get to use Glacier the way it's set up now. So there needs to be something to impede the mass amount of people that go to the national parks, especially like Yellowstone. Bro, I'll go to like what is it, Old Glory or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And I would venture to say minimum 60 to 70% of that crowd standing there looking at the geyser is from somewhere else.
Japan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I agree. But so here's the problem, though. Okay, let me give it to you from a business sense. We, meaning the U.S. government, National Park Service, is competing with the Great Wall of China, the pyramids of Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Castles in Europe or whatever. Machu Picchu. So look at it that way. Like, we have a lot of incredible natural resources in the United States, and people have a choice where they're going to go. So it's a slippery slope to say, well, hey, we don't really want tourists.
And that was my finishing up opinion. Like how you mentioned about we're competing against some great international tourist attractions. When you look at it that way, a person flying to America from another country, that $250, if they're going to go to a few national parks, is going to be pittance in their budget. Just I think it would be more expensive total to go see the Wall of China than it would be total to fly here and see any of the national parks.
Well, but you're
I don't think a person who's never been to America, when they hear about $250 for a pass to go to all 50 states national parks, they're gonna balk. I don't think so. I think
but that's Phil. That's $1,000 for a family of 4 with 2 kids.
No. It's 250, and then at certain parks, each individual will have to pay another $100.
You sure? I think it's $250 a person.
It's $250 for the pass. It's just like a regular pass, but like at certain parks and during certain times, you pay an additional surcharge of $100 per person.
Well, I understand that, but when I buy my America the Beautiful pass, that's for me. Is that a family pass? I mean, I don't have a family, so I don't know. But I mean, I thought it was for me.
Well, if you're in a vehicle, it will cover
the whole vehicle, the
whole
occupants.
vehicle.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah. That I did know. Yeah,
that's why it was a big deal about the motorcycles. It was like, okay, we should at least get another rider.
Yeah.
What about my wife or whatever?
Right. Which is why they've changed that to 2 motorcycles because that makes sense. Like if a husband and wife, let's say, each has their own motorcycle, they shouldn't have to have 2 passes. So I get that. Okay. All right. That good. Thank you for clarifying that. Holy hell.
But still,
it's still $100 to go to those parks. You're telling me, but it's $100 a per. Well, hold on. It says age 16 plus. So, but if you have 2 teenage kids that are that's $400 to get into Glacier,
plus the 250.
Woo.
Wow. After all is said and done, I had kind of given up in the last 2 years on national parks. You might see me doing national parks again, bro.
Well, we'll see.
This might work out to our benefit.
It might.
But I'm thinking a lot of people from other countries are gonna. It's just like if bro, when you travel and you're visiting some place, you spend money. You spend hundreds of dollars on BS.
Hey, Phil, how old you got to be a senior? It's $20.
I need to look at that for real.
I know.
I need to look at
all the prices here.
So
by the way, it's still military. Is still free.
Yeah, everything American is the same.
Yeah.
So don't worry, Mike. Just weeks after we were talking about the slow death of movie theaters, Netflix drops a $83 billion bombshell to buy Warner Brothers, HBO, DC Universe, Harry Potter, everything. If theaters were the first domino, this feels like the second. Platforms now owning the studios themselves. Mike, is this the official moment Hollywood becomes merge with streaming or die?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because we talked about this a couple weeks ago too about streaming and all the different services. Now you're talking about potentially, I don't know what you would do. Are you going to pay Netflix separate than HBO separate? Who knows? I mean, and then Paramount has made an offer as well. What do you call it? A
counter offer.
Well, no, the Paramount's doing a unsolicited offer.
Oh yeah, when they just do the gangster thing and just
and they actually may be successful because my understanding is that the government is more on their side than Netflix, but we'll see. I don't know. I mean, because they remember we're talking about HBO, Paramount, Netflix. These are the biggest streaming services. Period. End of story. So all of these players are huge. It's not a stretch to say that they all might come together eventually.
Hollywood is over. Maybe Netflix doesn't get them because of some regulatory or monopoly reason. But like you said, Paramount is going to get them. Some streamer is going to get them.
Yeah.
Hollywood is dead.
Yeah.
It's
Agreed.
pretty
I
much
mean,
dead.
and it's already dead from a standpoint of studio. A lot of it is moved out of California in general because there's more attractive and lucrative places to do to have studios and to film and whatnot. So
So
yeah, it's a
it,
changing
it,
environment for sure.
if Netflix owns the studio and the platform, then what's the theater model for this?
No, it's
I
I don't think there is a theater model. Like I said before, I think the theater model going away.
I think that it's absolutely going to go away for a minute. And then, like everything else, history repeats itself. And then I think we're going to see like special one-off Netflix theaters in major cities.
Yep, yep, I could see that.
So, Mike, cable news viewership is collapsing at a catastrophic pace as audiences cut cords and move entirely to streaming. And now Amazon is absorbing live news directly into Prime Video for free, right alongside movies and TV. Mike, does embedding news inside entertainment apps weaken journalism's authority or expand its reach? Or do you just think it's a good idea or not?
Man, you're asking hard questions today. Well, so funny enough, you mentioned that I actually watch most of my news on Amazon, and
Do you? Okay.
um, well, let's just cut to the chase. I mean, news is entertainment at this point.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, let's be real. I mean, most of it is bullshit, and there's a fine line between news and opinion. So, I mean, yeah, they're all. So it's interesting if you look at the ratings of cable news, uh, and this is not a judgment of which one I think is better or worse than the other, because in my opinion, they're all not so good. But Fox News is larger than pretty much the next five cable news organizations combined. So that's an interesting statistic. I don't know if people are aware of that. Like Fox is bigger than CNN, MSNBC, which is now MS Now or some bullshit. They changed their name, and they're bigger than all those organizations combined.
Mike, we're bigger than MSNBC.
Yeah, well, suppose that's a good point. I think we got more people listening to the podcast today than Rachel Maddow.
But there are literally a lot of content creators that routinely get better viewership than CNN or MSNBC. Yeah. I don't know how they're still alive.
I looked at the top 5 podcasters in the world. There was a thing that came out now that was combining them together. You know, the usual suspects like Joe Rogan and Alex and who's your who else? Anyways, but their numbers. If you look at their numbers, they're bigger than all these news organizations. So what that's telling me is like people are more inclined to listen to a podcaster or to a streaming media service than they are to either cable news or, for that matter, even non-terrestrial radio. Like, you see this, they've lost huge amounts of subscribers on SiriusXM over the last couple of years. And I think it's coming up now. The decision's got to be coming soon to whether or not they're going to cut Howard Stern loose or not. I don't know what's going on with that, but
he's too expensive.
He's too expensive. Exactly. He's too expensive because they're losing. I think I just read they lost 300,000 subscribers last year and this year or something.
Bro, the only reason why I still got Sirius, in all honesty, is because they charge me once a year and I always miss whenever it is that the recurring charge comes. So I end up getting it another year.
I actually just canceled them a couple months ago now because I realized that I wasn't. So now that I have Starlink, even when I'm driving my truck around, I used to listen to SiriusXM while I was driving. I don't have to do that anymore. Now I can listen to my regular Amazon Prime Music account because I've got internet all the time. So I'm just streaming my music as I drive, and I have it's like one-stop shopping. I have Amazon Prime, which it's kind of interesting. We're talking about streaming medias and stuff. So I've got Amazon Prime for package delivery, and then I've got Amazon Music, and then I've got I watch I've subscribed to Paramount, which is through Amazon, and and all this stuff. So it's like that's where the world's heading, and this is why I said half the time I watch news on there.
Yeah, I know we moved away from Netflix and HBO and all of that stuff, but I sure hope that they combine them because I'm paying for those separate. So I hope by
Yeah.
them merging, I end up with a cheaper fee.
As do I. Yeah, same thing. I pay for Netflix is independent, so that is paid separately, and as is HBO.
Mike, news used to be about who, what, when, and where, and now it's blended with opinion, reaction, and algorithms chasing clicks. Younger audiences are growing up in a world where TikToks, podcasts, and headlines all blur together in one nonstop feed. So, Mike, do you think younger audiences even recognize the differences between journalism and commentary anymore?
No, and if you remember when we grew up, Phil, the big three, right? CBS, NBC, and ABC. You had Dan Rather, Peter Jennings, and what was the guy on the other?
Walter Cronkite?
Well, he was before Dan Rather, but Peter Jennings, and I don't know who the other guy was. Tom Brokaw. You could name these people. I couldn't name one of the networks. I forget which one has no anchor anymore. Like both of them, I think just announced they're resigning, right? So I'm not sure which one that is. I think it's ABC maybe. I don't think a kid. I say kid. I don't think anybody under the age of 30 could tell you an anchor on any network.
I would agree with that.
Right? I mean, no way.
Television and cable is like some archaic thing to them.
Yeah.
It's like a cassette deck.
Yep. Yep. And I mean, and I'm one of them because to be honest with you, I'm on TikTok, I'm on various things. Like I find out my news oftentimes on TikTok or some kind of social media. And then and in our day and age, you got to go fact check it, right? And then you got to go see if that actually happened or it was AI or it's bullshit or what. But then you go and look at it from another source, and that other source is usually Google, and you Google it, and then AI it gives you the result at the top, and sure enough, oh yeah, that guy died, and but I just found that out on TikTok, so I'm not finding it out by listening to the 7 o'clock news with Dan Rather.
Mike, I have watched an occurring event, something that's happening at the moment, and the celestial news will report on it. And they basically spend a 30-minute news show talking to different reporters that say, we don't know anything right now.
Mm-hmm.
They just literally waste time for the whole news show, and they all say they don't know anything. Then I'll go to like different social media people, and they'll be like, here's some footage we got from Captain blah, 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 and we've got this, and if you go to this, and they lay it all out for me.
Yep.
And I have literally seen now where the news has used social media people's reporting.
Oh, well, look, listen, Phil, the news uses social media reporting almost all of the time now. Like, and they don't even hide it because you'll listen to CNN as an example, and they'll be like, President Trump just tweeted. Well, they're pulling it right off of X.
Mike, in the late 80s, early 90s, you would always see me with this huge backpack full of camera equipment for no reason. And the reason was because my hope was if something happened, I was prepared to film it. And if I filmed it, I knew that I'd get a nice penny from a news organization. I have done this.
Mhm.
That no longer exists.
No.
And I have known of people who were just a regular person who just happened to have a camera that filmed something and made millions of dollars off of the footage. That don't happen no more. Now, if something happens, people freely send in. They literally have to cipher through all of the different photos.
Yep. I mean, I just got the a month ago I got the iPhone 17, and I got to tell you the video on it and the pictures is staggeringly good. I mean, this iPhone has an 80 times zoom and it's clear. Staggering. Like you don't need a news camera.
And you don't need a news camera, and you don't need anything.
No.
You don't need anything. Because somebody's going to have a camera, somebody's going to film it now, and they're going to be anxious to share it.
Yep.
So Mike, a new Pew study says 62% of kids under 2 are already on YouTube. And with AI generated slop.
Wait. Repeat that one more time. Under what age?
A new Pew study says 62% of kids under 2 are already on YouTube. And with AI generated slop flooding feeds, experts warn it may distort how toddlers learn what's real. If AI can fool adults, what chance do babies' brains have, and should regulators step in before the algorithms do? That's a crazy statistic, Mike.
I'm still trying to put it into my head, but yeah, I mean, I guess it bodes well for us YouTubers.
So they telling me that if I saw 100 kids under 2 years old, 62 of them are already regularly watching YouTube. That's the scary thing, Mike.
It's a different, because we can beat this to a dead horse, but I mean the concern is, and so far YouTube has done a decent job with it, but the trying to scrub out AI and fake stuff is becoming obviously increasingly more and more difficult. So, obviously at that age, and shit, a lot older than that age, can't make really good, rational, educated decisions.
So let me give you another tidbit, Mike. According to the information I have, they looked at all of the different social medias, and all of them had, young people on there that shouldn't be on there. But the study specifically highlights YouTube for that, because they have that astronomical number. And I have witnessed, not a 2-year-old, but I have witnessed ladies putting their children in the car and then like issuing them all their iPads for the ride. Yeah. I've watched on social media people going on trips and they brag about, well, we just hand them their iPads and they're quiet for the whole ride. So people are using it like as a pacifier.
Yeah, because it's where they're getting their cartoons and their videos and whatnot too on YouTube. In back in the day, you had to sit around in front of a snowy looking television trying to decipher if you were looking at, some cartoon. It was hard to tell the difference between Fred on my TV at my house. It was hard to tell between Fred Flintstone and the rabbit or whatever, because the TV's quality was so bad. But now, you're like you said, they're driving around in a car with an iPad watching it in 4K.
Right. And if you remember back then, Mike, there's always been an issue about children's entertainment. They used to say Tom and Jerry was too violent. They used to say that the Road Runner and all of that stuff was too violent. Having an anvil drop on somebody and things like that. Right.
Right.
And I do think that it affects or it desensitizes your
Sure.
your feelings about violence if it
Yep.
doesn't do anything else.
Yep.
We live in a society now where we can watch a whole newscast full of violence, infanticide, all types of things, and we don't blink an eye.
Nope. Nope.
Mike, SpaceX just launched its 3,000th Starlink satellite of the year using a Falcon 9 booster on its 32nd flight, an operational pace no one else on Earth is even close to matching. Mike, does this flight tempo change how other space agencies and private firms have to compete?
I read somewhere that 3/4 of all objects in space are owned by SpaceX.
Oh, I thought it was higher than that. I thought it was like in the 80s.
It may be now, but and they're like they're not slowing down. They have total dominance as far as I'm concerned. And we've talked about this before. It's largely government subsidized in a sense because a lot of their money is coming from the federal government, and the federal government in the United States doesn't really have the ability to do space exploration any longer. They've got to rely on these private contractors, and SpaceX is way, way ahead of Blue Origin or any of the other ones out there, quite frankly. So it's dominance.
This reminds me of the first few months of what Donald Trump did as the president. That they have set a precedent of innovation and speed from research and development through innovation to the end result. That pipeline, they've shortened it so small compared to everybody else. It forces them to do something different, because if you know anything about the way these companies compete for these contracts, the government says we're interested in this general idea, and then they come back with their toys that fit the parameters of whatever they said. And a lot of times they'll say 6 months or a year or whatever it is. Well, if one company is steadily coming back with the better product in 2 months and you taking a year, you got to change up.
Yep. And the bottom line is they've got the toys, like you said. When the government's looking for it, they just show up with their bag of toys, and everybody else shows up with an empty bag. That's kind of what's happening to a large extent.
Yeah.
And I think it is a philosophical. Everybody rains on Elon Musk all the time. That he's a weirdo, and he is. But I think what he does for that company is he instills a different philosophy.
Absolutely.
And the philosophy that they've put in place is what it's given them the ability to innovate quicker and be more nimble on their feet. And I think that's what's setting them apart, where some of these other companies, well, definitely NASA, was so archaic in their philosophy. And I think even to some extent, Blue Origin and some of the other ones they're a little too corporate-y, if you will. So I just don't think they have the innovation ability.
So I read an article that amongst space and aeronautics in that industry, NASA used to be the creme de la creme.
Mm-hmm.
It is on your resume saying you spent 20 years at NASA is actually a hit on your resume now.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like,
that's
okay,
like saying I'm an expert in DOS.
right.
Yeah, it's like, oh, good. Good. We don't need you.
Mike, so some more on SpaceX. SpaceX is reportedly targeting a historic 2026 IPO. $30 billion raised at a massive $1.5 trillion valuation. potentially the largest IPO ever in history. After two decades as a private company, SpaceX will soon answer to public markets instead of just its mission. Mike, does this kind of IPO reshape innovation, shift political influence, or simply just who controls it?
Well, I think it's all the above. I'm not even sure it's who controls it because obviously the largest shareholders are still going to be in control of it, and I don't know that that's necessarily going to change from what it is today, but we'll see. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was the largest IPO ever.
Some IPOs I look at as this is the logical next phase for this company to continue in the direction it's going. They need an infusion of money outside of themselves. And then
by the way, that's going to put them even farther ahead of some of these competitors.
Well, that gets me to the second one. There are a lot of companies that their goal, their ultimate goal was only to reach an IPO so that they could cash out. SpaceX is unique in that they never wanted to really go public. That was their strength, that they had no desire and they protected themselves from IPOs. Now, becoming an IPO, no matter who owns the majority of the shares, how do I say it? The public, or not the public,
it's public information that
they're going to force them to do profitable things. You can sit on things. You can have something lose money for a while for the bigger picture when you're private. Once you go public, people don't go for them long-term investment moves and stuff like that.
That's true.
So I don't think it's a good move for innovation.
We just talked about being nimble in innovation, and it probably likely over time will take some of that away.
Shareholders are going to make them prioritize profit, Mike, over everything else.
Yep.
I play the stock game, and I have never seen there's like a handful of companies like in the last 30 years, and I can't think of the name of any of them, where the CEO went out there and begged his shareholders give him some time on something, and they gave it to him, and it was only
that's usually the penny. Those are the penny share companies, the ones that are trying to rock the market or something. They're not big valued share companies. No way.
Yeah, that's anomaly stuff.
Yeah.
Mike, FIFA's president is under ethics complaints for publicly backing Donald Trump and even backing a peace prize for him, despite FIFA's strict neutrality rules. With the U.S. hosting the 2026 World Cup and billions on the line, does this blur the line between sports leadership and political influence?
I mean, welcome to how it's always been. The whether you're talking about soccer, or you're talking about the NFL, or you're talking about Formula One, or professional cycling, these organizations are always political. They're always involved in government crap, and FIFA is probably one of the worst, considering that it's an international thing where a lot of this comes down to bids. It's like the Olympics, right? Where are the events going to be held next? So no, this one is a weird one, anyways, because you're talking about U.S., Mexico, and Canada, right? So this whole thing is weird.
Well, I think that sports should just cut the cord from politics. I don't care what sport it is. I don't care what sports organization it is. I think most people would have no problem going to a game and not having flags, not having pledges of allegiance to whatever country you from. Just start the damn game. I paid $200 for this ticket to watch this game to escape all of that.
Phil,
I don't.
it's why I've soured on sports, man. I mean, I got to tell you, I think we talked about this before. I used to be a huge like NFL junkie, watched football and for years.
Same here.
I gave up on that years ago now. Like I can't take it. Like I can't take it. Just leave it at that. I can't take any of it.
When
it's so politicized, so just I don't even trust that it's real, to be honest with you.
Oh, I've never thought it was real. It's not logical to think it's real. It's too much money involved. And in the last 5 years, it should have made it clear to you, once the law of the land allowed betting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's gonna get worse.
You see how they haven't like said, okay, we'll do the bare legal necessity. It's like we're all in on this.
Yeah.
You go on ESPN, most of the shows are sponsored by some gambling organization.
Yeah. Oh God, everyone.
And they literally give the odds.
Right.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Mike, the FDA is now probing alleged deaths tied to COVID-19 vaccines and expanding safety reviews into respiratory syncytial virus treatments. With tougher vaccine approval standards rumored, Mike, is this the start of a major shift in how vaccines are regulated and perceived in the U.S.? Do you think this investigation will actually change FDA vaccine approval standards? They're basically saying that there's evidence that there are a lot of people that died directly because of taking the COVID-19 shot.
Okay, I'm going to give you two sides of this. One, I truly believe that is probably a true statement that people died because of the vaccine.
I feel that way.
I'm sure it's happened. The problem is that this is also political, and you've got in Kennedy Jr. and pushing an agenda that is not necessarily based in science at all, and you've basically stacked the odds with a bunch of people that were nominated by Trump that are arguably not even qualified necessarily to be in some of the positions that they're in. And they're going to make decisions that might actually be true, but they're not making them for the right reasons, I think. So I do believe that, let's take the COVID thing as an example. That thing was pushed through, obviously, very, very quickly without any kind of research, without any kind of testing, because we were in a rush. And for anybody out there really to say that it's definitively safe, they're smoking crack, right? I mean, I don't know how you can make that statement. Like that's just not real. However, you've got, I noticed, Kennedy was trying to push through the changing of the hepatitis vaccine and some of these other ones. Now, some of these other vaccines have been around for 50 years, and we do have a lot of studies on them. And, I would hate to see us going backwards and arbitrarily getting rid of things that actually help society. And, we don't want to get to a world 50 years from now where all of a sudden we've got, people dying of Black Plague and polio
Right.
and all this other stuff. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, Mike, go ahead.
Well, I know. I mean, that's my statement on that. So,
well, according to everything that I've been reading about the new regulations that they're implementing, is that, like how you mentioned COVID, they just ran that through. Well, even before COVID, most new modern medicines were were pretty much being run through. Not as fast as the COVID thing, but the regulations, the approvals necessary were much easier in the last 10 years. And what they were saying is that a lot of these things, all they're doing is they're giving you the disease or the whatever it is, and it makes you immune to it. And they're saying that they want drug companies to focus on cures. And the other thing that they're saying is from now on, there's a stringent policy on pushing these things through. You're going to have to actually prove that these things work.
See, the problem is that particularly in America, this is all very based on financial gain. So there's not that many drug companies. There's a limited amount of drug companies, and they're all obviously, as you said earlier, they're all for profit. Period. End of story. And it's created an interesting. So where that's different, I'll give you an example. Like down here in Mexico, we don't have prescriptions, right? So you can go and pretty much walk into a pharmacy and get it wherever you want. There's no prescriptions from doctors and whatnot, and the medicine is a lot cheaper. So that's an advantage. And by the way, there's medicines here that are available that are not available in the United States yet because we have a more stringent process of testing and whatnot. Now that could be a good and a bad thing. I think in the case of comparison here to Mexico, they're a little bit more of the mindset like everybody's got to take some responsible for themselves and decide whether this is worth the risk or not. Whereas America is more of a nanny state.
Man, I want to live in a world like that.
Well, I'm just telling you. So I'll give you an example. If I go into, in America, I don't, whatever, name a drug, you need a prescription for. Down here, you go in and it's, I don't know, a tenth of the price, let's say. Even things that are not prescription, like Allegra, I take for allergies in America. I buy an Allegra, I forget, it costs, I don't know, it's about 90 cents a pill or something like that. I think I pay. Down here, it's 30 cents a pill, and you just go walk in and get it.
Crazy. That's
crazy. There's a lot of differences. Now, having said that, the vaccine thing, I agree with one of the things that you said. The problem is there's been a lot of focus on giving you the disease so you can fight it when it really hits you, rather than trying to find a cure or trying to find a real, quote, vaccine that actually blocks the disease.
Bro, we ain't cured shit in...
We haven't cured shit.
Maybe 100 years.
Well, no, because that's not good for business. I mean,
I understand.
That's the problem.
I understand.
If you're Johnson and Johnson or I don't know, one of the other drug manufacturers, really, I don't think you have a vested interest in finding a cure. If you can give people pills forever and keep selling those things, that's the way to go.
And doctors, it's supposed to be legal, but the pharmaceutical companies pay outrageous bonuses to doctors who write enough scripts, prescriptions.
Yep.
So, Mike, there's a sitting governor under scrutiny for an alleged $8.5 billion in fraud.
Billion.
Right. And yet, when you search his name, it's almost invisible across mainstream media. Instead, the only outlets covering it are partisan corners of the internet. How is it possible that an allegation this massive is being effectively ignored, and what does that say about who decides what becomes national news?
Because everybody's got their kids' gloves on here, because you're dealing with a former vice president potential, right, in Waltz, and you're dealing with Somali. This is largely comes around Somali fraud, Somali immigrants. and now you're touching immigration, and you're touching what's her name up in Minnesota, the senator there, and now I just read that they're investigating her finally for fraud, as it is immigration fraud, because she married her brother or some shit. So, I mean, there's a lot of fraud going on, and of course you're going to get quashed because this is a left-wing fraud.
Right.
I mean, right? I mean, most of this is left-wing fraud. I mean, and not to say that, I mean, there's fraud on both sides, but this happens to be left-wing fraud.
And this is also indicative of the morality of the political sides.
Mm-hmm.
The whole time Ilhan has been here, that ain't like no secret thing that she married her brother, but it was cool. It was cool under the Democrats.
Yep.
It was no big deal.
Yep.
Their idea of morals is disgusting to me. It's like whatever you into, do it. And I kind of feel that way, but I feel like, yeah, whatever you do it, but recognize what you're doing is good or bad.
Right.
So if the alleged figure is truly 8.5 billion, what threshold does something have to cross before it becomes unavoidable national news, Mike?
I don't know, because that's one of the biggest frauds in the history of the United States. And once again, it goes back to, really has to go back to COVID to some extent here. And that, I said this a million times, I'll say it again, the whole COVID thing was, the pandemic was a gigantic fraud. I mean, it was probably the largest fraud committed on the financial markets in the history of the world, by far. I mean, there was no money. It was going all sorts of different directions, and very little of it was going where it was supposed to be going.
So Mike, are you saying there's a double standard in how allegations are amplified based on party affiliation?
Sure. Particularly since the mainstream media, like that you mentioned, largely is controlled by the left.
I don't believe you.
Yes, you do.
Mike, you got anything else you want to talk about?
Hell no.
All right, guys, you know what I'm going to say. Stay safe, tread lightly, and hopefully we'll see you here or on the trail soon.
You have been listening to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.